All right, welcome back to Shoot Your Shot. I am super excited about today's topic, and it's something I've been getting a DM a lot about. That's why I figure, hey, let's make this a podcast episode. So today's episode is all about going full-time photographer and making that transition seamless. Now, when I say seamless, I should give a bit of a disclaimer. There's going to be some bumps in the road, and that's okay. That's all part of learning and getting yourself to where you want to be. Now, the DM that I've been getting a lot is basically saying, hey, Esther, I'm going to quit my job. Got any tips? And I'm kind of like, I do get a lot of messages on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, where people are just basically asking me for tips. And, without being, kind of too cutthroat, I just want to be like, well, for one, do you have a plan? For two, is your photography going to be able to supplement what your current income is? Because if the answer is no, then I wouldn't recommend making that jump right now. I'd recommend maybe going part-time so you can put more into your business, or looking at a financial plan and then knowing, okay, if I can hit this marker, then I'll be able to make that jump to full-time. Or, okay, if I have X amount of clients, then yes, this would make sense to do that jump to full-time. But the problem is so many people want to make the jump and they don't actually have a plan in place, and they're not actually getting clients. So, it kind of rubs me the wrong way when people just say, like, got any tips, like as if it's this quick, like, fix, or I can throw you a tip and you're going to be successful. No, that's not how it is at all. And that's why I get so worked up about this topic, because it's like, it is such a massive thing. It's a very exciting thing to do. I remember when I made the jump, it was a very exciting endeavor. And I had a lot of people saying, like, are you sure about this? You have a really good job right now. It pays okay. So why do this to yourself? Why have that uncertainty and have no guaranteed income? And that's, absolutely right. My own brother always says it himself. He's an entrepreneur as well. And he always says, like, you're unemployed until you have your next client. And I think that always stuck with me, because he's absolutely right. You are unemployed until you have your next client. And I don't think a lot of people realize that when just saying, I'm going to make the jump. And it's like, well, I want you to go full time. I want you to be successful, but also I want you to be really smart about this. So, for example, I had a conversation about a year ago, and somebody said, yeah, I'm going to go full time. And I said, great. How has business looked for you? Like, how many clients have you had? Like, what does that look like? And they hadn't had a single paying client. And I was kind of like, okay, so what's your biggest obstacle right now? And they said, well, I don't know how to get clients. And I kind of was like, okay, so that's the first piece of the puzzle. And they said, well, I don't have money for paid ads, so that's why I'm not getting clients. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I didn't say that to them, but I'm just kind of like, you don't need to have the budget for paid ads. They said, I don't have the money, and that's why I can't make it. And, I totally disagree with that. I'm like, you know what? People have credit cards for a reason. So it never actually comes down to the fact that, like, I'm not making it because I don't have money. I'm like, hey, I didn't put anything into paid ads. Where I did put my money and was the best investment ever was getting a business coach, which essentially is you're finding somebody who's in the position that you want to be in, and you're going to invest in them in whatever program they have. Obviously, do your research and make sure it's going to be a good fit for you. But then I'm investing my money there. And I can honestly say, if I wouldn't have done that, I would not be in the position that I am today, because my coach, he challenged me, he inspired me, he gave me a literal path of how to get to where I want to be. And I remember signing up for his program, and I was still working a full-time job at the time. And I remember thinking, man, this would be so cool. Like, he's telling me that, I would be able to make this my full-time thing. And, deep down, I knew that was possible. I just didn't know how to go about it. And the fact is, so many times people just keep trying to, kind of maneuver their way through and just, hope for the best, cross your fingers, hope for the best. When really your best investment ever is going to be finding somebody who's in that position that you're in and investing in them and being like, hey, show me the ropes. How do I do this? I remember even to learn how to use my camera. That's exactly what I did. Found somebody. I went to, him and his wife ran a nice operation out of their house, went to their place. I said, show me how to use this thing, because I don't know. And it's like, those were the times where, yeah, in that moment, I didn't have that kind of money lying around, but also I was just like, you know what? I need to make this happen. So I did what I needed to do, and I got another job. I got a couple other random gigs, actually doing some landscaping, which is super random. But I was just like, hey, I'm going to make it happen. And yeah, I threw it on the credit card, and I was like, you know what? I know that this is going to be a good investment. It's going to pay itself back. So I wasn't worried. And sure enough, if I would not have hired him, there is not a chance that I would be in the position that I'm in. So, for everybody kind of thinking like, oh, I just, I need to have, if I have money for paid ads, then I'll make it. No, that is completely false. A lot of people actually flush money down the toilet for paid ads. Your best investment, if you want to go full time, is I highly, highly recommend that you find somebody who's in the position that you want to be in. You hire them, you join their program, whatever it is. Obviously, I'm going to put a plug in for my program. I do run a high level coaching program for people that want to go full-time photographer. This program is exclusively for wedding photographers. So, if you're doing another kind of photography or whatnot, this is for people that have the intention to go full-time wedding photographer. So, yeah. Basically, going to come back to when people are sending me a message of, hey, got any tips for me? And I will basically say, hey, yeah, tip number one, join my Facebook group so you can start getting free value there and start building up your business. Tip number two is going to be make sure that you have a plan. And tip number three is going to be, hey, you know what? If you're actually serious about this, I highly recommend that you invest in a coach, a program, a mentor, whatever that looks like. Obviously, you're going to want to do your research. You're going to want to see what's going to be the best fit for me. Do people have credible reviews? You want to make sure that you're looking at that to see that they have helped other people so that you know that they can help you as well. So, it's just been on my mind as I've been getting that message a lot, and where, yeah, people are basically just saying like, hey, what's kind of the tip? What's the secret hack? And I'm like, it's not a secret at all. You are going to have to work really hard. You are going to have to invest some money. I mean, if basically your options are, you can either invest your time, or you can invest money to get a bit of a speed route to get to where you want to go. Because I mean, if I hadn't hired a coach, I know that I still would have been able to make it. I think that it would have just taken 5 to 10 years extra. And I didn't want to play around with time. I would have rather just, hey, I want to do this. So I'm serious about this. Let's go. So, I mean, those are honestly the options there. Now, the next thing that I want to say is, I love when people are eager and excited and they're sponges to learn things. I think the thing that maybe kind of rubs me the wrong way or whatnot is when I do get these messages out of the blue where, there's no introduction. It's just basically saying, hey, give me some free information here. And I'm kind of like, hey, I've got free resources in my Facebook group. I'm all for that. But, at the end of the day, you do want to be respectful when you are reaching out to people. I'm like, hey, I reached out to a lot of photographers as well, but I think the best way to go about this is for one, to just introduce yourself straight up. Number two, I wouldn't try and just see what you can get, take all this information and stuff. I'm like, hey, you know what? There's a lot of research that you can do ahead of time so that you're not having to just then feel like you're, I'm all for, picking someone's brain and whatever, but it's like, you know what? You can do a lot of this on your own and then be like, hey, I have some specific questions about X, Y, and Z. How does this work? I know that you help people. How does this work? And then I'll be able to be like, hey, awesome. Let's have a bit of a conversation online. And then let's see if this is going to be a possible fit for you. Then let's jump on a call together and let's, do an assessment call. Let's see if this is going to be a right fit for you. So that's just kind of one thing I do want to mention because I have been getting a lot of kind of just similar messages where it's like, hey, Esther, give me the secret sauce. And I'm like, there is no secret sauce. So, I do want to just kind of throw that out there as well. Now, biggest takeaways that I want you to have here is that, for one, there is no secret behind this. When you go full-time photographer, there's really no secret except for that you do work really hard and you've invested some money. That's, at the end of the day, I'm just being really straight up and blunt because that's who I am. So, that's honestly, there's No secret there. And number two is that I'm essentially just saying, hey, you know what? If you're really, really serious about this, you need to have a plan in place. So whether that is something as you're mapping out your goals, you're going to start road mapping what needs to be done. If you feel like you just have no idea, start soaking up information. There's a lot of resources on YouTube. There's a lot of resources in Facebook groups. There's a lot of coaches out there. There is a lot of mentors out there, local or far away from you. So you can start doing your research in that. Now, I want to also just leave you with some practical advice that you can then write this down and go and do it. Okay. So I'm going to give you two things here. So number one is going to be that content is king. Now, when I say this, I'm not talking go and do one shoot here and there. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying get out there and create some scroll stopping content. So if I grab my phone here and, I'm going through, it's like, okay, as you're scrolling through here, what is going to have people stop in their tracks and be like, okay, I'm going to stop here and I'm going to, stare at this and be like, wow, this is some awesome content. There's styled shoots, there's workshops, there's retreats, there's a lot of things you can attend. You can also create your own styled shoots, but all I'm saying is create some bomb content that's going to get people stopping their scroll in their tracks. So that's number one. Okay. Is go and create some content and create an obscene amount. If I were to give you a number, I'd say try and schedule 3 amazing, mind-blowing shoots every single week if you're really serious about going full-time. Okay. So that's number one, is creating content. That was an absolute game changer for me. Once I started creating all this sweet content, it was like all of these shoots that I had been setting up, all the different free shoots, all of the different workshops I've been attending, the styled shoots that I've been doing everywhere. Just for myself, I've been finding cute couples and being like, hey, can you wear this dress? Can you do this? That was an absolute game changer. And when I ask clients, why did you decide to book with me? They'll literally point out photos from these different styled shoots. So absolute game changer. That's number one for tactical advice. Number two is start showing up on your Instagram. Okay. I book most of my clients from Instagram, and it's not because, I throw a post up every, whenever I feel like it. No, I have a consistent plan and content schedule that happens. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. It's a big time commitment. Okay. It's like another full-time job, but guess what? You're going to get clients this way. So it's the trade-off there of just knowing, okay, I am going to get clients this way. It's something that needs to happen. And an excuse that I hear from a lot of photographers is like, well, I just, I don't have the content because I just haven't been hired for any weddings, so I don't have the content. Okay, well, I just solved that problem for you by having a content strategy and getting yourself some bomb content that's going to have people stop in their tracks when they're scrolling. So we just solved that, is because you're going to go create some amazing content. So that's number one. Number two is, the second most popular excuse that I get is I don't have the time. Okay, well, here's the thing. Time is a amazing thing. And guess what? Everybody has the same amount of time. So there's no leg up or anything like that. And at the end of the day, I think it comes down to time management. So if you can really get a grasp on managing your time, maybe that's going to be, you need to cut out some Netflix. Maybe it's going to be, hey, you can't go to the movies, once a week anymore, or you might need to cut that girls' night down to once a month, or whatever that looks like. There's going to be some sacrifices. That's all part of having your own business. So that's just one thing to keep in mind there is, yeah, there's going to be some sacrifices. Maybe you need to wake up an hour earlier, go to bed an hour later, depending on when your brain is the sharpest. But you are going to need to put time into this. Okay. So if you want to go full-time photographer, you're going to need to put time in. So those are just two, I want you to walk away from this podcast with two practical pieces of advice that you can implement today and get your business rocking. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. And thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will post the links in the description here, that if you are wanting to schedule an assessment call with me, I will have that link scheduled in there. If you're like, hey, Esther, I want the guidance. I want to know the path. How do I do this? Help me. All you got to do is schedule an assessment call there, and I will provide my social links. You can always shoot me a message there as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time.